Right, hi everybody. Thanks very much for signing in for our Talent Pipe webinar. We do these pretty regularly. We normally have somebody from recruitment, HR, talent acquisition, technology, somebody that's doing something interesting that I want to focus on. And anybody that's interested in the same subject, they'll come and focus on it as well. So this week, so I'm Adam Gordon, and this week, fellows who's come and joined me from Optimal Talent. We're going to Optimal Content. We're going to talk about SEO job ads, how to make your job ads get much more reach. But first of all, let's just find out a bit more about you, Dan. So could you just give us your CV? You've not spent all your career in recruitment, but you've spent some of it in recruitment world. So just what's your background and who have you worked for? What have you done?
Hi, Adam. Hi, guys. Thank you for having me. The opportunity to talk to you this afternoon. For my background, I come from mainly performance marketing background. Previous to working with Indeed.com, the largest search engine for jobs, which was my previous role, I worked at a startup called LifeWorks. When I joined, there were a handful of us, and they exited for 430 million, I believe, last month. So congrats to Jane and the team. I was marketing director there. They were an employee engagement app, so it really first started to sort of build an understanding within me, really around absenteeism, around presenteeism as well, just really the health and well-being of employees. Hugely important, and something now we're all focusing on.
I hope you still had like 10% equity in the business or something like that. That would be pretty good at 400 million exit.
Yeah, no, he got me 2 very large gin and tonics. So, yeah, he's a very inspirational man, Jamie True, the CEO. So I learned quite a lot from him. But yeah, previous to that, I was at Vodafone Group over in Paddington, again as a senior marketeer, working with all business units and talent attraction as well. So that was a really exciting opportunity. And previous to that, I was at Microsoft, who had purchased Nokia, my previous company. So really around technology. I think my sort of career is finding ways to solve problems using technology, whether that has been in telecoms, whether that has been in HR, whether that's been in sort of talent attraction as well. To have this sort of an ability and desire and sort of thirst to anything is possible. I think you guys have proved that with your own business as well. We're not quite sure how to do this, but there is a way to do it. And surrounding yourself with really bright, engaging, brilliant people, and also bright, engaging, brilliant customers as well, sort of working together, we can solve any issue that's really put in front of us. And now today we go public with Get Optimal Content, which I'm very excited about, in between the mild anxiety bursts. But yeah, you and I have spoken about it recently quite a few times. And yeah, we're looking forward to taking the covers off. We're working with 3 enterprise clients at the moment and 3 staffing agencies. So yeah, looking forward to talking more about it today with you and the folks online.
Great. Okay, so let's talk about SEO first, because that's what this is all about, really. Just give us a bit of kind of back. What is SEO? Why is it important in recruitment?
So SEO, search engine optimization. I first worked with, I think, British Gas on SEO about 14 years ago. They were having big problems trying to communicate that they were a local brand, although they were a national business. So again, back in those days, it was all very much print. We started to create little microsites for them. We created 168 microsites for British Gas for their local guy in Glasgow or the local guy in East Dulwich, where I live, or in Liverpool. And we started to create really bite-sized shareable content. So videos, how-to guides around how to defrost, I don't know, your boiler in the summer, how to clean your pipes, local phone number, local URL. And we started to really redo the piping of British Gas, which effectively means making all of their content very relevant in terms of the local people that are searching, very much within the keywords, really in the site architecture as well. So the text, don't want to get too technical, but making all of your content relevant and searchable. That's effectively what we did. And within a couple of months, we were driving 3 or 4 million users through these microsites. And obviously it was an incredibly successful campaign for British Gas. So it was my first real experience of using SEO to gain and to acquire customers as well, but really understanding how does content work with SEO. Clearly, none of us know how Google algorithm work, or LinkedIn, or Indeed, or Facebook, but we've got an idea that it's always around content and it's always around relevancy as well. So every single role that I've been in, I've worked with some brilliant people, particularly at Vodafone, some SEO sort of world-leading experts. They've taught me so much around how important it is for your content, for your videos, for user-generated content as well, to have all of that architecture, that plumbing internally built into it, so that in our case today, that job seekers can find the jobs that they're searching for. We've moved hugely from a job board era to a search engine for job era, whether it's Google for Jobs, LinkedIn, Indeed, Facebook. It's incredibly important that we're able to understand, the relevancy algorithm of these search engines, but then how are we creating content to make sure that Adam, who's searching in Glasgow for his next job, is then being matched with the job that Dan has just posted down in London. Because ultimately, and that's really the passion of the business, we want to connect recruiters, staffing agencies and business owners with candidates that are qualified for those jobs and have the most relevant CVs for those roles and for experience. And what I've seen in the last 2 or 3 years, that unfortunately recruiters haven't had this education, haven't had this guidance, haven't had the time, to be honest, because we know how busy they are, how small, how agile their teams are. They're just happy just posting anything. And I think, if we were to look across any of the job boards today, and again, our research internally has shown that about 99% of the job adverts that are posted online are or in any way really the search engine. So what does that mean? It means you're spending a huge amount of your budget. And again, there's been some great report. The Wave Track report this July showed how costs for some verticals are going up about 70% cost per acquisition as well. So even in a marketplace where we have less and less candidates, this ever decreasing circle of talent, now more than ever, we have to ensure that every single piece of content, whether you're Michael Page and you're posting 10,000 jobs, which they've got live today, or you're a smaller recruiter, you need to understand, but also you need to work with content experts like Get Optimal to ensure that someone else is doing this for you, but also, to remove that burden, to remove the heavy lifting, because most recruiters, and again, we've spoken to about 550 in the last 6 months. Adam, what's the worst part of your job as a recruiter? Writing a job advert. I don't know how to do it. I don't know what to do. How long should it be? What are the keywords? What's the optimal length? How do I remove gender and racial bias? All these key things that we built into our algorithm affect the relevancy of your job adverts. It's a rather long-winded response to that question.
No, it's all really useful background and context. So if I'm going to be slightly controversial, I would say that the need for SEO in job adverts has become enhanced because of products like Indeed encouraging a vast amount of job spam. Is that fair or is that not fair?
It's highly unlikely to be controversial. So I think, no, I mean, obviously I used to work for Indeed. I learned a huge amount from some really, really talented people there and some wonderful customers. What Indeed have done, their number one priority is the job seeker. They want to help people get jobs. It's a very simple mission as well. As far as I'm aware, you can only post one type of role, which is unique. You can't multi-post, you can't spam. I don't know. I'm sure people potentially might get around that, but I know they've changed their relationship with staffing agencies so that only roles that are live on their platform are set to sponsor, because ultimately they want Adam to see the job once. They don't want you being seen the job 10 or 15 times, because ultimately that reduces the candidate's experience, reduces the user experience, and potentially it could stop people advertising on the platform. So as far as I'm aware, Google for Jobs is the same, and LinkedIn as well. It's about reducing the amount of adverts ultimately that aren't unique on your platform.
Yeah, but
yeah, I think your point about the kind of underlying point was, yes, if more recruiters, huge budgets have moved over to people like Indeed, which is based on an algorithm, then now more than ever, do you need to get your content highly optimized to ensure, again, Indeed, LinkedIn, Google for Jobs is a bidding platform. You can have 100 people bidding for one job with a cost per click of 60p. You can't outbid relevancy across any platform. And that's really the key thing. You can have very, very deep pockets, but you can't outbid a more relevant advert. So that is why having the content optimized and really understanding perhaps, the nuts and bolts under the hood, how does it work, is incredibly important. And recruiters don't have the time. Staffing agencies don't have the time to do that.
No, absolutely. And I consider myself a marketer, and SEO is not something I know very much about because it's really quite technical and it is a specialist area for sure. So I think the requirement for products which automate the creation of SEO influenced adverts is something that's really vital. And we'll come on to that in a little bit. Sure. And of course, this isn't a sales presentation for Get Optimal, but it is important for us to understand more about how this all works. So just back to the Indeed point for a second, the one quick thing to dwell on. So my point really was around Indeed was the first platform that gave recruiters the opportunity to go and post free job adverts, what they describe as organic, what I would just describe as free. This is all coming to an end. So the supply chain is all stopping. So in the USA, organic listings no longer exist. I think they've given a date now when organic listings in the UK are gonna cease as well. So what big differences do recruiters need to be aware of that are coming in the UK because of this?
I suppose, there is an inflection of the job boards, of search engines for jobs as well. I think it's really understanding how performance marketing works. You as I are performance marketeers. We come from a marketing background, and ultimately, let's say the last CEO I worked for, I wouldn't spend £1 until I could prove to him that I was going to be returning £12. So again, it's really understanding the data, really understanding the insights. What are your analytics tools that you're using? Because the post and pray approach, ultimately, yes, you're absolutely right, is coming to an end. So again, does that mean that you need to upweight your team in terms of an analyst to really understand how candidates are searching for jobs, what they're applying for, what they're clicking on as well? Candidate journey was something that I was hugely surprised about whilst working at Indeed, because you'd find an advert, you click on an advert, it would then take you back to a recruiter website where then I had to create an account. I would then create an account. They would then send me an email. I would then click on that email. I've probably gone to sleep at that point, or I've most definitely left that process as well, because the candidate journey, much like the customer journey, was pretty appalling. So understanding that candidates won't go through 2 to 3 steps maximum before they actually apply for that job, for me, really, really is key. But I think just not accepting, you and I are very inquisitive people, and I think that's really important for marketeers, for recruiters, talent attraction folks to really understand the process of how everything ultimately works. And I'm not sure if it comes to an end, because clearly these companies are data aggregation companies as well. They rely very much on the content that is being posted, that is being harvested, brought into a Google for Jobs as well. That's really where the insights comes for those businesses. Back in the day when we used to see the Google car drive down our road with a camera, without those guys sort of mapping the country, you wouldn't have Waze, you wouldn't have Google Maps as well. And it's very much companies like Indeed, LinkedIn, Google for Jobs, they need to collect that data. The only way to collect that data is to have that weight of data, that weight of content, that weight of job adverts, job descriptions as well, to start bringing the insights out. So it's an exciting time. I can't see many new big companies over the horizon. So I think it's very much the time to stop, to take a breath, and to really understand these different platforms and how they ultimately work. Yeah.
I would agree with that. There's been so much change in the last few years, but I do think that there's going to be very few big market entrants on the sort of advertising side in the next couple of years. One change that I think recruitment businesses and talent acquisitions need to be aware of is the shift towards programmatic, and it's just not as simple as choose the website that you think is going to deliver the best return and then post there. So okay, let's move on to SEO. What are the most important things that, if I was writing my own SEO kind of enabled job adverts, what would be the most important things I would need to consider? What do the algorithms really sort of what do they really prioritize on a job advert?
Yeah, I suppose without going into the secret sauce of KFC, I think 2 things: it's content and it's relevancy. Again, I won't name the client because he's a really nice guy, but they posted a job, and the job title was do you want to travel the world? That job, I can't remember exactly, was clicked on, let's say 100,000 times. And being a cost per click platform, you're paying maybe 20, 30p a time. So there was a huge amount of budget wasted. Because that job wasn't relevant in any way, it was actually for a tax consultant in Guildford. But clearly somebody thought, I don't know, it could be for, just traveling around the world ultimately. So every single job description, every single job advert that you create needs to be absolutely relevant for that candidate who is searching for those roles. Very much in what is the job? What does the job pay? Where's the job's location? What is the expectation of that candidate? Also, really a key insight, I think, from LinkedIn was that you've got 8 seconds to pique a candidate's interest. So effectively, you're looking at your mobile phone, and if you're looking at the real estate on your mobile, the opening paragraph, the opening salvo, really it's all they're going to see. If they're interested, they will click and they'll research and they'll apply, or they'll effectively swipe left, swipe right, whichever way it is, I forget. So that opening paragraph is incredibly important. But like how Google's built its behalf of the business, it's making it as relevant as possible, your content. But again, we've done the research. We've looked into tens of thousands of different points of data. We've just signed up to work with Amazon Turk as well, which is incredibly exciting because we're going to piggyback their machine learning technology to start to speed up our own automation as well. So we're discovering new ways of doing this every day. We're slightly adjusting our own algorithm as well. But again, that's what companies should expect working with Get Optimal Content as well. We do all of this so that you don't. We're very happy to work in partnerships and work in sort of mentoring, but we do all of this work so you guys ultimately don't have to do that. You can spend more time doing what you want to do.
So, okay, let's talk about what are the main mistakes people make when they're putting together job adverts. You talked a bit about there's a lot of bad job adverts. What are the most important? What are the most regular things that you see?
It's not written for the candidate.
Yeah,
it's very much a last. Oh shit! I've got to do that advert. I'll just copy and paste something from somewhere else that mildly reflects the job that I'm advertising for. And that's not a criticism. Recruiters and consultants are brilliant recruiters. They're not content copywriter experts. They're not data and insight experts. You would expect them to do, but length is huge. It's the first scenario. You're not going to go through your entire life story on a first date. I can't remember my first date. I probably did because I was really nervous, but it's just about getting that candidate interested. What do you actually really need to put onto that job description to screen that candidate who is not right for that role, or to qualify that candidate who is absolutely right for that role? And again, it's that time thing that recruiters don't have time to think about it, to research as well. And I think a lot of folks who've been doing it a long time, unfortunately, think they're doing a really good job, and ultimately they're not. And you can see that in the level of candidates that are coming through. Maybe their rejection rates in their applicant tracking system is high 80s, 90%. I've seen in some instances as well. I mean, that kind of shows you that you're not really targeting the right market set. So yeah, length is key for me. It's always reduce. You don't just have to put more in the white space. And again, some search engines will pull in that content and they'll change the way that it's displayed anyway. But it's really, really key that, you reduce ultimately what you're putting into your job advert.
Yeah, there's a few that I think are important, such as, if you can say something in 2 words, don't say it in 10 words.
Absolutely, yeah.
The ideal candidate for this role will have, how about just you will have?
Yeah.
Talk to the individual.
Personalized, yeah.
Okay. The other one that this is slightly off topic, but the other one that I really enjoy is when I see an advert and the recruiter's gone out their way a little bit to actually try and anonymize who the customer is.
Yeah.
But they've still basically described the business, and they've used terms from the company's website to describe the business. So you could just copy that from the job advert, post it into Google, and it tells you exactly who the company is. Or even worse, when they've gone to lengths to try and describe who the company is, and then they've cut and paste elements of the job description in, and it says you will adhere to Barclays' strict, security processes or whatever. You're like, well, that's Barclays. I find that quite interesting.
I think it's a time pressure thing. We're coming up to peak season hiring, September 2019. I know some folks last week that were about 70,000 people in 9 weeks.
Yeah.
So, it's a time of peak anxiety, not just peak hiring as well. And I think clearly what you're doing amazingly at Candidate.ID and what we're beginning to do can hopefully really help these guys both at the top and the bottom of the funnel.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you did say that, recruiters are not necessarily hired to be writers. They're hired to be recruiters. And according to Bill Berman, there are 75 different tasks that need to happen from a candidate leaving their job to somebody else sitting in that seat, having replaced them. Those 75 different tasks are really, really varied, and they involve completely different skill sets.
Yeah.
So, there's some recruiters I know who are absolutely brilliant writers, and there's others who are not, but they put an effort in. There's others who are not, and they don't put any effort in. So there's a real variance on that.
Yeah, Bill's a very wise man. From the initial test that we did, just to prove that point there, recruiters were saving about 2 hours a day not writing job adverts. So the marketing director we worked with, she said they were saving about 10, 11 hours a week, which she saw initially allowed people to contact, recruit candidates, which ultimately leads to greater placement fees for themselves, but also their team. But they did things like they went to lunch, they went to the gym in the evening, they went to the pub, they did normal things. One guy was saying, I'm sure he won't mind me saying it, he went to his kids' football for the first month, hasn't had the time to do that. It's really nice to hear that, We didn't ultimately think about that to begin with, but giving people time back they want to do, not just to make more money, which is hugely important, but have a quality of life. That's even more important, isn't it? And maybe that's the reasons why you and I are doing what we're doing, is to have maybe that quality of life. But giving time back to recruiters was a great positive from our point of view.
Okay, so you're talking about how long. Just go back to your workings on that. How long are recruiters spending on writing job ads that you're able to save them?
So we saved, or they saved, sorry, and it'll vary depending on the teams. As you rightly say, is it the marketing team, is it traction? I mean, who is doing it? There's no one owner in the business, and that's probably where the main issue comes up as well. So not having a centralized function, even if you're a Randstad, you're an S3, you're a Pertemps, you're Michael Page, you don't have that centralized function. So the average recruiter will spend, and guys maybe disagree with me if it's more or less for you, but on this occasion, it's about 2 hours a day going into creating, going into different search engines to find examples, to posting it onto the ATS or posting it out as well. But it's also, I've got to do this. This is like, anything else that I can do, I will do apart from doing this as well. So a very wise lady at Nokia told me, Dan, focus on what you enjoy. Don't try to improve what you don't, but focus on what you enjoy. So I'm getting back 10 hours a week. If you're a small business, if you are a huge staffing agency as well, getting people back out there, meeting candidates on the phone, responding to emails, text messages, using platforms like yourself will make them absolutely feel happier, but also generate additional revenue for themselves and for their teams. And that's what I wanted to create. I wanted to create a revenue generator. I've used lots and lots of great SaaS technology in my time, both at Microsoft and Vodafone, but I found it was very hard to get my teams inspired. I was actually doing something directly for them. And clearly Good Optimal Content does that.
Yeah, no, I certainly see that as a revenue generator. And what you said was interesting around, the people were spending more time actually just having lunch or going to the gym or actually doing something. And I think what that means is if people do have a proper life, then the actual time they're spending on working is definitely more productive. So I can see that being one route. The other route, of course, is if people are getting more time back, is that the manager will potentially increase their targets. So it
potentially, but also it's going to mean you're going to retain your staff. What's the turnover in average, staffing company? It's one of those things. If you're, when I worked at LifeWorks, which is an EAP employee assistance program, one of our key marketing messages was, "Have you got LifeWorks?" So when I did an interview with Candidate.ID, how seriously do you take my well-being, my mental health as well? So by demonstrating you had a LifeWorks meant that care about employees. Employees are an asset in our business, and it's going to take a while to get there with recruitment. But I think if you come into a role and you've got somebody else doing the main part of the jobs that you don't do, it's going to make you happy, but also enable you to retain and to motivate your staff and stop the huge turnover we're currently seeing.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I think that I want to focus a little bit on how Get Optimal works, you've got a short video that you can share. Are you able to share your screen, and we'll just take a look at this video, and that's going to generate a number of other questions, I think.
Absolutely. Share my screen. All right. Can you see that? Yep. Okay.
I just don't know what to do with this job description. It's just so frustrating not getting the right quality of applications coming through. We're talking probably 100 job descriptions a week.
I'm a business owner, not HR.
I feel like I'm drowning in it.
Do I include salary, location? It's like looking for a needle in a haystack.
What I need is more time in my day to do the parts of my job that I love. Not writing
the video down.
Sorry, boss.
Doesn't that sound familiar? Writing job description.
Did that not come through?
No, can't see the video. No.
Okay.
Try again. Share screen. And that's you. There we go. Okay. Excellent. Done.
Take two. Sorry about that.
Let's take a look.
I just don't know what to do with this job description. It's just so frustrating not getting the right quality of applications coming through. We're talking probably 100 job descriptions a week.
I'm a business owner, not HR.
I feel like I'm drowning in it.
Do I include salary, location? It's like looking for in a haystack.
What I need is more time in my day to do the parts of my job that I love. Not writing job descriptions. Sorry, boss.
Doesn't that sound familiar? Writing job descriptions doesn't have like this. Get Optimal Content provides a unique job advert optimization service. You can now get back valuable time in yours and your team's very hectic day to do what you really want to do. You can increase your business revenues, but also your commission by getting up to 30%.
Gone. Dan, are you there? Okay, we seem to have lost our guest. I'm going to give him a minute to see if he comes back. If anybody has any questions, could you post them on the chat on the right-hand side, please? It'd be great to find out if anybody's got any particular issues, questions they've got around job descriptions or job adverts, and how to make them as SEO optimized as possible. Okay. I noticed that a couple of people had said earlier that the video from our guest was freezing, and I'm wondering if he's been kicked off. Ironically, this is the second time this has happened to me in 5 days, because on Recruiting Brain Food Live on Friday, my host Hung Lee got kicked off as well. So here we go. Dan's hopefully coming back. Okay. Oh no. Okay. There we go. Dan's back, hopefully back on screen.
Hi.
Hi. I think that the video killed your broadband.
Oh, okay. So sorry about that.
That's okay.
Get the happier part though.
We got some of it. Tell us the most important bit.
So the people that are using the video were local people. One worked in the prison service. You had two small business owners. One was a scientist, and one was my wife, because somebody else didn't turn up. But they're all genuine frustrations. They're all genuine. I don't know what to do. Why should I be the one doing this as well? And particularly the guy from the prison service they're getting, I think, about 95% rejection rate of candidates. So he was just constantly perplexed, constantly busy, quite stressed out because he was paying a company to do this. Clearly, they weren't doing it very well for him. But again, we've worked with him on a very, very small basis at the moment in the test, and it's working for him. He can just tick that off his list, cross it off straight away. So, I really care about people, and genuinely seeing these people happier and being able to be part of that solution, I think for me was, it was a good validation of what we're trying to build here.
Yeah. When we first started talking about this a couple of months ago, I thought to myself it was quite niche. And you've certainly convinced me that it's actually a really important issue. Mark, I've got two other questions, but Margita has a question, which is that, so this is if she's not using Get Optimal, which we'll come on to. I want to talk about pricing and stuff like that and how people can buy it. But if she's not using Get Optimal, so she says, I've been an agency and internal recruiter for a while. I find it tricky to get the right keywords as there's so much different and conflicting advice about that. What's your sort of advice around if somebody did want to just kind of get a bit better themselves and teach themselves to be a bit better at this? What would be the best ways to really understand, what keywords are important?
There are a couple of free tools out there. You've got Google Trends. You've got SEO-optimised, you've got SEMrush. There's about 10 tools you can use a free version of, which is key. Obviously, SimilarWeb is great as well. Ask Google questions is really, really cool. So you really want to understand how candidates are searching. What are the keywords that they're using for? Candidates are a challenging proposition because we can't always think like a candidate thinks. One of the most popular searches indeed, I remember from my time, all public information, is blank Glasgow, blank London, blank Manchester, because they don't really care what they do, but they care about where the location is as well. So using one of these smart tools, and I'll put some links in a moment in the chat box. You need to understand how they're searching. Google and LinkedIn and Facebook and Indeed will ultimately take your advert down if you're seen to be spamming the advert. So you're looking for customer service, for example, and you're just writing customer service many, many times. Yeah. One of the most, I think the highest or the fastest growing keyword was weekend and part-time. So again, these are sort of insights that are out there, which you can find from Google Trends to start putting into your adverts as well. There is a lot of advice. Writing advert is quite complicated. The search engines are relatively similar in terms of the content and relevancy algorithm. But again, job adverts are only one part of the three key elements. You need a really strong talent attraction, employer brand. If you've got a really great advert and a really strong budget, but candidates are coming to your company page and they're saying that Adam is a really ferocious CEO. He works me till 9 o'clock at night. I have to work weekends. He sends me emails. I'm just hypothesizing at 4 a.m. They're not going to join your business. So again, you can have a really strong employer brand and a great piece of a job advert. If you've got no budget and candidates aren't going to find your advert on page 4006, or potentially candidates are going to find your advert on page 60, then again, you're probably not going to be getting the right number of relevant qualified candidates coming through. So your budget, your job adverts, and your talent brand are incredibly important. They're not mutually exclusive. You've got to work with them together. Yeah.
So El Mekdi Abutalib has suggested shorter adverts, like less than 250 words, have worked better for that person because candidates are curious and want to hear more during the call. I don't know. Does that sound like a good thing or not so good when you're trying to get your advert seen by more people?
I think what we're all doing, more or less. I think what we're all doing is testing a hypothesis. I think we're testing our leap of faith at the moment, which is working. If it's working for you, fabulous. None of our data insights show that actually works as an approach. It hugely depends on what vertical you're targeting, the individual, the blue collar, the white collar as well, and what budget as well. I mean, as I said 20 minutes ago, the opening paragraph really is the most important element of any job advert. People don't really care about your mission of the business. You maybe put that right down at the bottom, depending on if you're hiring a Java developer in downtown Austin, Texas, then they probably do care about your mission a lot more than the factory worker up in Swindon who's looking to get a job for the Christmas run as well. So it hugely depends on the market you're targeting. But no, I haven't seen an example of that working. But test it very quickly, succeed or fail. I think that's the sort of the approach that we're taking.
Yeah. Okay. You touched briefly on bias, gender and racial bias. Tell us what you know about that, and why is this an issue?
I think we want to know more, I think is the best way of phrasing it. We know there is a lot of unconscious bias in the way that adverts are created, the way that they're published. There's even biases in the algorithms that we have. There is a huge discrepancy in terms of gender, in terms of the gender data gap, something that I've seen in all the businesses that I've worked at as well. We're not quite there with a partnership with the Cranfield Institute, but a couple of their professors have been working on this the last 5 or 10 years. They've got some amazing insights. So hopefully we're going to be plugging those insights into the platform as well. A simple example, we know that if you put more than 5 bullet points in a job advert, you're going to, on average, receive less applications from female applicants. Conversely, if you were to put 10 bullet points in your advert and a male applicant could only do 1 of those bullet points, they would still apply. Women are less likely to apply for a job where they can't complete all the tasks. That probably doesn't surprise any of us as well, but why would you guys know that are creating your job adverts? So again, reducing your bullet points is absolutely key. Bullet points are very good for displaying content on a mobile, but again, reducing them, because people do they really need to do all of those bullet points? They probably don't, do they? They probably need to do 1 or 2 of those bullet points as well. In terms of the unconscious bias, that's what our machine learning is going to be working on. Probably stage 2 is really building those sort of data index libraries, understanding version 1, version 2, and then pulling out the key nuances within that. But yeah, we're hopeful in September, because August is a bit of a silly season, that we'll have a couple of cool announcements with the Cranfield Institute to start working with those guys to really inform what we're doing. We know a little, but we want to know so much more as well, to again make a much more equal and level playing field in businesses from male and also female applicants.
Yeah, okay. Amber's asked a question which is on a related topic, which is what are some tools on company brand building on social media? So this is a bit aside from SEO. What brand building tools? What do you know of? What do you like?
Social has changed. I used to be head of social at Microsoft. It's changed huge amounts since then. From an employee brand, from a talent attraction point of view, I believe the #1 company page on Indeed whilst I was there, I think it was John Lewis. So what I'd say is go onto Indeed, got a sales pitch for Indeed, type in John Lewis. I think Land Rover was exceptional company page as well. It's really about creating an environment and a page which is transparent and authentic and really reflects what your business does. It's about creating those vignettes, those small videos. What is it really like to work in Candidate.ID? What's it really like my first day in the office? What are the experiences of people that I'm going to be working with? It's as much sharing content out as it is bringing content in as well. And we know in the health sector that 95% of candidates will go and view a company page before they apply for that job. So I'm not sure what business Amber works in, but I think that's a really good starting point. They've got a lot of tools there for you. So again, if you don't have a budget or a team to do that, everything is kind of there for you. I hope that kind of answers your question, Amber.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's a lot of free things out there that can be used for that. Quite frankly, my favorite is simply this. When you're taking a brief from a hiring manager, go and ask that hiring manager, tell them you're going to bring your phone in, tell them you're going to ask them, how do they inspire their team? What are the most exciting projects that they're working on? And what are the top skills that they think somebody needs to get ahead in their career in whatever that job discipline is? Video content, especially from hiring managers, is something that I see as being really important in terms of brand building. And there's a tool I want to share as well, which is called Pazzle. And Pazzle is something that makes it very, very easy for all of your hiring managers and recruitment team to actually create and distribute content It's one that I've featured on here before, and it's something that I think is really good.
Sorry, just to shine the mirror back onto you. Shine a mirror, turn a mirror back onto you. I think what you do exceptionally well, and we used to call it the voice of the customer, is the amount of content that you're creating. Very, very simply, very quick, but most importantly, people ultimately don't care what I think or what you think, but they care what other people think as well. You know, they don't really understand what happens at Candidate.ID or maybe Optimal, but they care about how it's going to make them feel. And I think the 1 minute, 2 minute videos that you're creating actually allows your customers who you're working for day in, day out to talk about you, to recommend you, to rate you as well. So having people that have actually been within your business or experienced your platform or your technology, the voice of the customer, we talked about that at Microsoft a lot, is really, really key. People believe other people. They don't ultimately believe the business owners.
Agreed. So contextualized for the recruiter, it's going to be about the people that you've brought into the company or that you've placed into your customers' businesses. It's going to be the hiring managers and the candidates that you've worked with. So no, I completely agree with that. Okay, so just the final thing I want to quickly focus on is Get Optimal. How does it work? So what does a recruiter do when they want to use Get Optimal to make their advert brilliant?
So I'll share my screen again and show you the platform, but it might break down. I don't know. Do you want to try that, or should we leave that?
I think it's a bit risky. Yeah, just give us a description.
So we built a digital self-service platform. I say we, my CTO, Warren Hobden, who is ill with a virus today in bed, hopefully listening to this. He's an incredible designer, a UX, UI designer. He's built the platform ultimately for recruiters and for business owners. We're in beta testing at the moment. As I say, we don't want to let anybody down. So we're working initially with 5 customers up until December to make sure that we've ironed out all the bugs. There's always bugs in technology as well. And also as we scale the team and scale the business, we don't want to be letting anybody down. So they ultimately will come onto the Get Optimal platform. They'll create their account. And then it's a matter of creating the individual advert. Or if you're one of the guys this morning uploaded 25 adverts, it took about 3 seconds. They're then published, they push those out, and that goes into the back office, goes into the technology, to the machine learning, and also our QA team as well. So it's effectively 3 steps. As I say, we want this to be a value creator, not a value destroyer. We want people to log on in the morning like they do opening their email, or maybe opening Candidate.ID as well. Post the adverts to us they want optimizing. Then in the evening or 24 hours later, they just go and they download them. Actually, no, they don't download them. We now have built functionality so it goes straight into your inbox as well. So it's incredibly simple. We're going to be putting in a payment platform, hopefully the end of September. So people have got 2 options. It's either pay as you go or it's a subscription. And again, subscriptions worked really well for our initial customers. We have 3 tiers, which again, we may change. We don't know everything yet. We're still learning ourselves, but we have a base subscription. So that's 0 to 50 adverts optimized a month. We have a grow, which is 50 to 150. And then the big staffing companies, they're doing the pro, which is about 150 to 300 adverts a month. And again, the price obviously varies depending on the vertical, but we want to make it simple, seamless, and intuitive, but most importantly, cost effective. And again, we're mapping back the costs in terms of reducing the time to hire companies are taking, reducing the cost to hire, getting more quality candidates. And again, I've been hearing quality for the past 3 or 4 years. You're going to get better quality of candidates if your adverts are optimized and clearly targeted. But I think something we're going to quantify more now is time given back to recruiters, time given back to consultants, because that will ultimately pay for the platform immediately. So that's something we put on as our 6th KPI. So yeah, we will. We've got a waiting list of customers. So anybody from today can just go to the homepage and sign up. And then as we start getting even better at what we're doing, we're going to be inviting more businesses on board because there's nothing worse than bring everybody on board in day one. I don't know if you've experienced this in your wide, varied career. We don't want to let anybody down. So we want to get it almost right, and then we'll be bringing more businesses on. So hopefully by the end of September, we'll bring on another 5, another 10 companies as well.
Terrific. Okay, great. Daniel, thanks very much for taking the time to talk to me today.
Thank you for having me.
I've certainly learned some things about advertising and about SEO and why it's important. I hope those people who have joined us have also got some interesting insights. Where can we find Get Optimal? What's the website address? How do we sign up to find out more information?
Yeah, I can put it in the chat box. The website is get-optimal.com. So have a look, have a browse, get in contact. My mobile, my email's there as well. We're doing demos pretty much every day this week. Hopefully we'll be able to release the names of our customers as well. We want to iron out a couple of things. But yeah, just leave your details, sign up, and we'll be in contact within the next probably 2 to 4 weeks to arrive to organize a demo, and then also sort of getting you live and getting your account set up.
Yeah, well, I certainly know who one of those customers is because it's a customer of mine, and I've got to be honest, she doesn't mess around with things that are not going to be really useful. So I can take that as a definite stamp of credibility, and looking forward to hearing about more results as you develop. So thanks very much for coming on, and thanks for everybody for signing in. And see you next time.
See you soon. Thanks, Adam. Take care. Bye-bye.
Cheers.